All right, Shalom. This is the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible that blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians are the true Israelites. The people that you read about in the Bible, regardless of what denomination you are in, everyone knows about the Israelites. If you're in the Christian church, by reading the Bible, you should know who the Israelites are. If you come from Jehovah's Witness, 7 Days Adventists, you know who the Israelites are, and blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are those chosen people of the Lord, man. Them people that you read about that walk through the Red Sea, those people are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Those people on Mount Sinai that heard the voice of God and lived, those people are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we have a great history, man. Our history is King David, man. Our history is King Sir Solomon. Our history is Samson. Our history is Jesus Christ, man. And in the UPK, we teach that if we serve the Lord and keep his commandments, we can get out of this hell that we are in, man. So for those of you that are new online, we do have a school in England. The address is 394 Lodge Road, postcode B18 5PW. So this school is in the city of Birmingham. You know what I mean? So, from this school, Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham. Good to see everyone in, man. So we got Manchester, London, and listen, man, we got the Netherlands up in here, man. ISUPK Netherlands. Is that how you say it? Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Okay, I'm working on it, man. I'm gonna get there. Trust me. All right, man. So yeah, man. You know what I mean? ISUPK is international, man. Unlike your fake Israelite group, but that's another story for another day. You know what I mean? But so in this school in the UK, we teach classes 3 times a week. Monday, 7 till 9. You have the history class taught by Officer of 5,000 Karafia. Wednesday at the same time, Officer of 5,000 Dongabar teaches a law class. Then, of course, right now is the scripture breakdown class. Then there's also classes online, but they're not held in the building. You can watch those classes online on YouTube, ISUPK United Kingdom, and Facebook, ISUPK United Kingdom as well. So on the Tuesday, either Officer of 50 to Zapawan or Officer of 50 Ra'alban teach the Tuesday Brotherhood class.
Right.
Then on Friday, you have Officer of 5,000 Shamgar that teaches a language class. So when those classes are not in the school, but they are accessible online. All right. So that's what we got. 1 second, Akim. Kanye, so as I was saying, those classes, they're not in the building, but they're online. So, do check it out. Also on YouTube, you can watch our camp videos. 1 week on the Birmingham High Street, the next week, the Brixton High Street. And, we got videos out there. We got content out there. So this being the scripture breakdown class, if you have any questions, if you're in the class, just raise your hand, and bring your question. If you're in the chat, you can type them in. Or if you're online, just, if you have a question, feel free to ask it. There's a verse you don't understand, there's a question or a verse you need broken down, feel free to ask at any time. But if you don't, then we do have a topic to teach in the class, all right?
Come on. So like
All
you
right.
said,
Yep.
if I could get a breakdown of Hebrews chapter 7 and verse well, it's quite a lot in that chapter to be fair. The book of Hebrews chapter 7.
Okay, let me get there. Hebrews 7. All right, Hebrews 7. Hebrews 7. Which verse in particular, or
So it's from, let me see. So I give me 1 second. From so like a breakdown on so Melchizedek is like Melchizedek was an order of priesthood before the Levites, right?
that's correct.
Correct. Okay. If I could get a breakdown from verse 11, please, Brother Shaw.
Verse 11. All right, then. Yes, you read that. Verse 11.
Hebrews 7 and verse 11. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek?
Read on.
And not be called after the order of Aaron.
Okay, so why is Paul saying this? Because, okay, back in the day, I'm just using that term. For you to be a priest, it wasn't because you wanted to. It was because who your father was. So if you was one of Aaron's sons, you was gonna be high priest. Why? Because you're Aaron's son. It's got nothing to do with what you believed in, what you wanted to do. And that's why someone else had to come, someone else that was fit for the job. Because a priest done it. Why? Because he was from the tribe of Levi, not because he wanted to. Like in the UPK, you come in here, you get anointed, and we ask you, is this what you want to do? We read the book of Luke to you where no man put his hand to the plow can turn back. And you say, can, and then we anoint you, we say a prayer, and you want to do it, which is better than you doing it because your dad did it.
Right.
So now that's the point, meaning that someone had to come after. Why? Because those priests wasn't doing their job. Also, to go along with this, in the book of Malachi, he's prophesying against them for what they're doing. So the priesthood wasn't right. That's why someone else had to come to what? Sorry, that's why someone else had to come who was fit for the job, man.
Right.
Which is the point. Read on.
For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law.
Read on.
For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar.
There you go. So with Christ, he's not a Levite. So when it means the changing of the law, he's not talking about don't eat pork. Meaning in the law, a priest had to be what? From the tribe of a Levite. But now we have a high priest, who's what? A Judite, man. That's why verse 12 goes, no, verse 13. For he of whom these things are spoken of pertaineth to another tribe, meaning what the Levites are meant to do. This now belongs to another tribe, man. There's a brother in heaven right now, man, sitting on the right hand side of the Most High, who is a Judite, and that a priesthood is on him. So that's what it's saying. Like, well, of course, this man Christ, he does it because he wants to. He's fit for the job. He's not doing it because he's just a Levite, which is the point. Pertaining to another tribe of which no man gave attendance at the altar. Now, of course, a priest, a Levite, he offered up sacrifices to the Most High. A Judite wouldn't be at presence at all. But now you do, man. Now you got Jesus Christ, who is what? our faithful and merciful high priest, man. Reader.
So like you said, so the change of the law, which it mentions, so that is then like changing from the Levitical priesthood to back to the order of Melchizedek.
Yes.
Come on.
So it's not like, you know what I mean, you can now eat pork, because a Christian, they love that verse, but the next verse explains it, that, you know what I mean, it's breaking down, to be a priest, you had to be a Levite. Now it's explained that, listen, we have a priest, and verse 13, the things spoken of pertaineth to another tribe. That's the changing. It's explaining it, but a Christian just sees law and, oh, listen, I'm free now, man.
Right.
I can do what I like, when that's not what this is saying.
Verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe?
Like, let's break it down. So remember, a priest had to come from which tribe? The tribe of Levi. And when Paul is breaking it down, it is evident. What does anyone know what the word evident means?
It's like verifiable. It's obvious. It's, you know, everyone knows it.
That's right. Meaning it is widely known. So it's widely known that Jesus Christ is from the tribe of Judah. He's not a Levite. He's not from the family of priests. It is widely known that what? Our Lord is a Judite. Read on.
Of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood.
There you go. In the law, the Judites don't offer sacrifices. With the Judites, they don't offer up burnt incense. It's a tribe that what Moses spoke nothing of concerning a priesthood. But listen, our high priest is a Judite, though.
Right.
And he's breaking it down. Listen, this is the order of Melchizedek. Now, even though we're breaking it down, does anyone want to have a shot at why Paul had to go into this?
Come on. It's like if I could.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because obviously Christ was a Judite, there would have been people say, "Oh, well, he can't teach the law because he's not a Levite." So they would have, you know, used all this, as well as all the other things they used to reject him. They would have used that as well. So Paul had to break it down.
That's close, but it's about tithes. If you start from verse 1, it break it down. Abraham gave Melchizedek tithes, 10th of all. Right. Meaning what? With Paul and the ministry he had, people didn't want to pay tithes. Why? Because Paul is a Benjamite. So what did Paul have to do? Paul had to reference the time in Genesis where Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek and go, look, right, he's not a Levite, and he gave him tithes. So listen, give me tithes, man. In the ISUPK, commanding General Johanna is a Benjamite. And listen, you are paying tithes, man. And also, don't let anyone lie to you about if you're not a Levite, you should not pay tithes. Because I'll even add on extra. If a Levite was here, they wouldn't pay tithes anyway. It's got nothing to do with paying. It's got nothing to do with if you're a Levite or not. There's people in the school that just don't want to pay tithes. I want to say in the school, I'm talking about in general, not saying literally in the UPK. There's people that don't want to pay tithes. There's people around that just didn't want to pay. Right. And he's saying, listen, man, you should. I'm not a Levite, but look, Abraham gave Melchizedek tithes, and we have a high priest, which is from the tribe of Judah. Reader.
Khan. And it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there ariseth another priest.
There you go. After the similitude, meaning what? The same thing, man. It's the same. With Melchizedek, he's not a Levite. But guess what? Abraham gave him tithes. And with Christ, his priesthood is after the similitude of Melchizedek, man. Cool. So it's breaking down. Listen, pay tithes, man. Pay it. Don't try and worm your way out. Don't try to do everything not to pay tithes. You know, I don't know why, People don't want to pay tithes so bad. They even lie and say tithes is corn and wine, man.
Right.
Anything not to give money, anything not to give that £5 note, that £10 note, do that bank transaction. Anyone finds a way to not pay tithes, man. When you should do it. If you claim you love the Lord, then pay tithes, man. And yes, back then, I mean, now of course, tithes wasn't only corn and wine. If that's all you had, that's what you would give.
Right.
But listen, we don't own farms now, but what you do have is money, man. Give that. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science. It's sad that you have to explain to someone, listen, we don't have corn and wine now. Now we have money. They're like, yeah, but it was the corn and wine. Yeah, but we don't have it. So how are you going to help the priest of the Lord by giving them 10% of your money, man? It's sad that you got to even break it down to someone how bad they don't want to pay tithes. Reader.
Verse 16. Who is made not after the law of carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life.
There you go. So, okay, with Christ, he got power of an endless life, meaning what? He served the Lord, man. Lived a perfect life, died, resurrected, sitting at the right-hand side of the Most High right now, man. Then what's the carnal commandment? Would anyone like to have a guess?
It's like serve. Good.
Yeah, good.
Is that the carnal commandment is the commandment they're saying just because you're a Levite, you're a priest.
Give that a hand. That's the point that you want, man. You want to break down that's the carnal commandment right there, meaning we have a priest that is more than just a carnal commandment. It's more than just your Aaron's son, your high priest next. You're a Levite, so just by default, that qualifies you to be a priest. That's a carnal commandment. It's flesh, meaning because you're a carnal, because of your carnality, that's the reason why you get that role. While as we have a priest, he wanted the job, and he died for that job, man. With a power, which is the point. Reader.
For he testifieth, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
And there you go. And in the book of Psalms, you can find it where it's talking about Christ. So even in the Psalms written by King David, he's prophesying about Christ and knew that with Christ, he'll be a priest after the order of Melchizedek. So let me see if we can get that. It's in Psalms. It's literally word for word the same thing. 1 second. I know it's in Psalms. All right, it is Psalms 110 and 4.
Sure, yeah, I got it.
Got it, all right. Yes, Psalms 110 and verse 4.
Should I read it, sir?
Can't yet.
Psalms 110 and verse 4. The Lord hath sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
There you go, man. So even King David knew that with Christ, he'll be a priest forever, but after the order of Melchizedek. So he's not going to be a priest because he's a Levite, but he will be a priest after another order, man. And then when it says the Lord have sworn and will not repent, meaning the Lord saying this and he's not turning back. What he's doing, this decision is making, he's not going back on it. And with Christ, he's a priest after the order of Melchizedek, man. And the Most High ain't turning back, which is the point. So, Ra'alban, you understand it now? I got anyone got anything else? Ain't no sweat then. I got a topic. I'm not sure if it's happening in the Netherlands, but a lot of people they're taking nitrogen gas as a drug. Is that happening in the Netherlands as well?
Council. It happens here. It happens here as well. They're going super hard on that. So
Yeah, look, and it's likewise in the UK. Everywhere you walk, you're seeing these small gas canisters on the floor, man. You know what I mean? I was in a car park and saw loads of them. Was like, that that can't be right, man. I mean, the floor was filled with them. So now, in England and in the Netherlands, this nitrogen high is becoming a big thing, and there is side effects that go along with this. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna read a few articles first, then we're gonna show you in the Bible that I mean for you taking drugs, that is unlawful and it is a sin, man.
Right.
Don't let no one tell you weed is not a drug. You know what I mean? Weed, how you take it, that is a drug, man. If you are burning ganja, you are sinning, man. If you don't need it and you are taking it, that is a sin. Of course, hemp, even in the NHS, some medicines you buy, you will find hemp on it, and that is totally fine, man.
Right.
You mean? But when you're just abusing it, then that's wrong, man. You are a drug abuser, and that is a sin, man. So we're gonna get into the first article. We're not gonna read all of it for time's sake, but we just get to what we need. You might not be able to read this from where I am, so I'll read it from this side, all right?
Yeah, I can read it from.
You can read it? Okay, Most High in Christ.
Everyone's gagging for it. How Britain got high on nitrous oxide.
There you go, man. So this ain't only happening in the UK, it's happening in the Netherlands as well. But what everyone's high on nitrous oxide. Reader.
Laughing gas was the lockdown high of choice for many young people. And now empty canisters are everywhere and dealers are hitting the streets with card readers. Will a government crackdown burst the balloon?
All right, so now the problem they have with this is for you to buy nitrogen oxide, it's not crime.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're caught with weed, crack, heroin, those are illegal drugs. But if you're caught with nitrogen oxide, you could have a car packed with nitrogen oxide. It's not a crime. You know what I mean? So this is becoming a problem because people are using it as a drug, but the use of it, but it's like if it's caught on you, it's not an offense, which is the problem. All right, scroll down. All right, let's read some of that.
Barry Smith spent this summer clinking as he walked. The 26-year-old painter from Devon sold nitrous oxide at 4 UK festivals. Before each event, he loaded his van with 20 boxes containing 480 canisters, bought online at 25p each.
Damn.
Hundreds of balloons.
So let's break it down, man. Yo, this nitrogen oxide is getting so big at big UK festivals. People are selling it openly. People are, packing their car with boxes full of these canisters. So 480 times 25, that's a lot of money, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's openly selling these canisters at festivals. Read on.
His pricing is This is considered small time in the nitrous oxide racket. His pricing is flexible. A balloon base rate of 2 for £5. A markup of a markup of 1,000%, or 5 for £10. But prices can plummet to zero for mates or skyrocket for strangers once he's running low.
All right. So now the point of this article here is this man here, he's making a killing from these nitrogen canisters, man.
Right.
And because it's not illegal, he's openly going to UK festivals like what's a UK festival like? For example, a wireless, or what's the other one? The party in the park,
Is it Park Life?
park life. That's the one.
Oh,
So meaning you got men like him that are openly going to like park life, wireless, and they're selling these, making a killing, and police can't do nothing because nitrogen oxide is not a crime, even though the police know people are using this to get high. So it gives drug dealers what you would kind of call a legal route,
right.
reader.
And it's like you said, if I could,
Yep.
I just did the math on it. So he's selling 480. He's bought them at 25 pence, and he's selling two at £5. He bought them for £120, and he's selling them for 1,200. So he's getting, he's adding some zeros to his money.
Imagine that. From change, he's making thousands, man.
Right.
I don't like to talk about my personal life, but I drive HGVs, and yeah, I had to deliver a pallet of those to an Indian man, and I knew what he was doing with it. Like, even I handed it over, I was like, I know what you're doing. And listen, he had a pallet full, and the pallet was high, man. I know he's making a killing of that.
Right.
But again, the police can't do nothing. Why? Because it's not illegal. It's not, like having weed or heroin, which makes it harder for them to fight against. So imagine that, from one box, 480 times at 25p. How much was that again?
£120.
It's making £120 off nothing. Change.
Oh, Salaki, he's making 1,200. Oh yeah, from £120, he's making 1,200.
Damn. And look at that. Off just nitrogen, man.
Right.
All right, let's read on.
Come. Standing largely in one spot, holding a nitrous dispenser or a cracker, resembles a coffee flask. Barry, which is not his real name, handed balloon after balloon to revelers attracted by a high-pitched hissing noise. He used the cracker to dispense the gas into latex balloons, while his girlfriend handled the payments, either in cash or by using a card machine borrowed from a friend's ice cream company. It's like a family business, he jokes. Trade is brisk. People just swarm at you. Everyone's gagging for it.
Imagine that. Even his admitting everyone wants it. I know what he does is, at these big events, stands there with his canisters. He just fills up the balloons and people just pay him.
Cool.
And the one is so bad, they even pay him by card, man. I mean, back in the day, the weed man didn't know nothing about card machine, man.
Right.
You gave the weed man cash money, man. You gave the weed man the £5 note, the £10 note, loads of pound coins if you had it. Whatever the case was, no weed man knew about no card machine, man. And let me tell you something, he's making so much of a killing when he sells these air canisters. He's bringing a card machine, man.
Right.
That's the problem. You know what I mean? It's lucky I can 1 second.
It's like you say, if I could just be excused for a moment, I just need to sort something out. But sure.
Kanye, ain't no sweat. It's like 1 second.
Watch.
Yeah, it's lucky. So basically that's what you see what is happening, where these people, they're making a killing by going to these festivals, and then what? They're getting rich off what? People's drug addiction, man. And in the Bible, drug abuse is a sin, man. Listen, nitrogen is not a sin. Nitrogen can be used for many things, man. But nitrogen ain't made for you to inhale, and you don't need it, man.
That's right.
And that's the problem. You know what I mean? You are using something that you don't need, and that is what you call drug abuse, man. And that's the problem right there. You know what I mean? So we got a second article is gonna skim through this. It's gonna show you the side effects of taking nitrogen oxide, oxide. All right, so well, so I believe the answer is for teacher. Well, it is. Yeah, I need someone to immobilize a car. So if you know someone that can do it. All right. So yeah. So this is it right here. My bad. I think I messed it up. Right. So this writing's a bit fine. So I'll read it from this end. Right.
Can't tell, yeah.
All right. Potential side effects of nitrous oxide. All right. So let me scroll down. So the overview: nitrous oxide is a colorless and odorless substance that is also known as laughing gas. When inhaled, the gas slows down the body's reaction time. This results in a calm, euphoric feeling. So, nitrogen gas, or what we call laughing gas, is not a sin. Some people go to the dentist and they get it. You know what I mean? Different. You know what I mean? Many people get it in different ways. If you go to a dentist, I believe they also give you that too to numb your pain. 1 second.
Bro.
All right, yeah. Nitrous oxide can be used to treat pain, and that is the real use of it, man. When you're in that, when you're in that dentist and you're in pain, that's what nitrous oxide is for, man. It's not for you to be inhaling when you want it, man. It's not for you to be putting it in these balloons and inhaling it. Nitrous oxide, its purpose is to treat pain, man. It also functions as a mild sedative. Because of this, it's sometimes used for dental procedures to promote relaxation and reduce anxiety. And that's what it's for, man. It's not meant for you to get high with every day, man. It's not meant for those kind of things. You know what I mean? So let me scroll down. What are potential short-term side effects? Even though side effects can occur from inhaling nitrous oxide, many who receive the gas don't have adverse reactions or complications at all. So we're going to scroll down to some of these side effects. So common short-term side effects include excessive sweating, shivering, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and fatigue. So by you taking all those gas canisters, the short-term effects are those, but there's also long-term effects which people don't like to talk about. Let me scroll down and get it. For time's sake, we just get to the points. All right, then. So, what are the symptoms of a nitrous oxide overdose? Despite the gas being safe and used medically, there's the risk of overdose. This can occur due to long-term exposure or from receiving too much gas. And what you see on the road with the people those balloons in their hand, that is overdosing, man. You should
Right.
only use nitrous oxide if you're in the dentist, man. If you're in pain, you should not have no balloon in your hand walking up and down the road, man. I was outside the school last week, and it was a car packed with some Eritreans, and all of them was high, man. You know what I mean? They had the balloons in their hand, and like, that's not life, man. You can't live like that. You showing, but anyway, let's get to the effects of if you overdose. So signs of a possible overdose may include irritation of the nose, eyes, and throat, wheezing, a coughing or difficulty breathing, a choking or tightness in the chest. And guess what? Many people that overdose on it, they get that, man. They have to go
Right.
hospital because their chest is hurting them, man. You should not be inhaling nitrous oxide like it's a joke, man. It's not.
That's
It's not
right.
game. Seizures. Some people get that. Um, a bluish fingers, toes, and lips. Rapid heart rates, psychosis, or hallucinations. And many people that take too much nitrous oxide, they get that also, man. They're hallucinating. They believe people are after them. So clearly, this is a drug, man. If you abuse it, and you should not be, man. If you're in
Right.
the business and there you need it for a reason, that is totally fine. But if you're just putting that balloon in your hand and just using it, then that's a problem. You know what I mean? And of course, we're gonna show in the Bible that drugs are unlawful, man. So what we're gonna do? Let's get a Proverbs 8.
Slack yourself, if I may.
Yeah, no sweat.
I heard cases in the Netherlands of people driving and taking, laughing gas and crashing. And I heard also cases of people taking laughing gas and getting paralyzed and things like that. So
There you go, man. If you are taking it and you're not meant to, remember it relaxes you. Now, if you're behind the wheel of a car, God knows how slow your reactions are, man. In your mind, you're high, but you believe, listen, man, that's a red light. But you've gone past the light, but your body physically cannot break in time. Because why? That's what the laughing gas has done to you. Where even though in your mind you think you're doing the right thing, in reality you're not, man. Your brain, yeah, I'm gonna break now. Listen, you should have broke ages ago, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You should have hit the brakes from a long time. But remember, your brain's running slow, so in your mind, you're like, yeah, hit the brakes. When really, it's a bit too late, man. And I said it can even paralyze you, man. It's no joke. You know what I mean? All this nitrogen oxide thing that you see, it's going to harm many people. And what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians need to know, listen, those things are drugs, man. It is drugs. Just because you can't get locked up with it, listen, it is a drug, man. You are abusing something that you got no need for, man. Let's get a Proverbs 8. Let me find the verse. I believe it's the last verse, like 8 and 36.
He that sinneth.
What was that?
But he that sinneth against me.
That's right. Yeah, let's get that. That's the one.
Can't. Proverbs 8 and 36. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul.
Okay, you start one verse above.
Can't. Verse 35. For whoso findeth me findeth life.
All right, so let's break it down, man. For whoso findeth me findeth life. What is the me here? It's the laws of God, man.
Right.
That's right.
you find what God wants of you. You find life, meaning you find the things that are gonna continue your life, man. You find the Lord, you find life. Read on.
Okay. And and shall obtain favor of the Lord.
And there, man, when you keep these laws, you obtain a favor in the Lord, meaning from heaven, the Lord just likes you, man. Like, you know what? That person does what I say. I'm gonna send some angels to watch over him or her, man. I'm gonna
Right.
make
Right.
you know what I mean they live longer. You obtain favor of the Lord when you do what the Lord wants. Read on.
That's right. And on verse 36. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul.
And there you go. Now, here's the opposite. When you sin against the Lord, you wrong your own soul, meaning what? You hurt yourself, man. You taking that a nitrous oxide, you wrong your own soul, man.
Right.
You are hurting yourself to where you can't breathe. You're in the hospital. You're hallucinating. Listen, man. Who wants to hallucinate? Who wants to see something that isn't there?
Mm.
I mean, you don't want that, but you wrong your own soul when you sin against the Lord. When you are a drug abuser, you sin, man. And I'm gonna show
Right.
you the laws of it in the Bible. That what we call today weed and crack and some of us think it's fine. It is a sin, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna show you, but if you sin against the Lord, you're only wronging yourself, man. You're only hurting yourself. And always keep that in your mind. That a demon in your brain, it wants you to die, man.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not trying to make you. It's not trying to make you get high because you feel good. The
Mm.
whole purpose that demon wants you dead, man. You think, oh, I feel good, man. I feel light on my feet. Until when you're in your car, you're blowing the red light and you're dead, man.
Right.
That's what the demon wants. The demon wants you dead. He doesn't want you feeling good. That demon wants you in a coffin, man. And if you cannot serve the Lord, that's the problem. 1 second, okay.
No, sir.
All right, yeah. So now, when you sin against the Lord, you wrong yourself, meaning you're hurting yourself, you're doing yourself wrong, which is an easier way of breaking it down. Reader.
And okay. All they that hate me love death.
And there you go. All those that hate the Lord love death, man.
Right.
When it comes to drug abusers, they love death. That tobacco is going to be the reason why they die, man. Imagine this: you smoke, and on the pack of cigarettes, it's telling you it kills. That's
Right.
insane. Like, yeah, man. And on the box is saying this is going to be the cause of your death, and you take
Right.
it. That's someone that loves death, man. We
Okay.
enjoy it. I mean, I know it's a different generation now. You know what I mean? You got all these new names for it. I'm not old, but I'm not young neither. You know what I mean? I'm kind of in the middle. You know what I mean? So a little here and there. But all of those things, that's why you're hallucinating, man.
That's right.
That's why you're fatigued and can't wake up for work on time, man. Let me tell you
Right.
something. Weed heads can't maintain a job, you know. You know that
Mm.
always late for work, so that manager has to sack them. There's no drug addict that can hold a full-time job. If you think I'm lying, look it up. They tried for so long to what? That demon wins, man. That drug addiction beats them.
Right.
And that's the thing. When you serve your lusts, when you serve drugs, you love death, man. Because those
Right.
drugs are gonna be the reason for your death, man. Whether it's crack, weed, or it's the laughing gas, man. Whatever drug you like, that same drug is gonna be the reason why you die. which is the point of this verse. It's telling you that if you don't serve the Lord, you are going to die, man. Whatever lust, whatever addiction you serve, that is going to be the reason of your death. And it's not far-fetched. Why? Because we see it all the time.
Right.
What's the guy on SB TV? He's dead of what? Taking drugs. He overdosed on drugs. That was the cause of his death. As excellent as he was, as business-minded as he was, he couldn't fight his lust. And that lust is the reason why he's dead. You know what I mean? Right. Let's get the next verse. Let's get Jeremiah 8:3.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 8 and verse 3. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue.
So even the Bible's telling you in these last days, death is going to be a chosen rather than life. Meaning, it's weird because people want to live, but a time will come where people would rather choose death, man.
Right.
People hear about what this laughing gas does to many people, and you want it anyway. People know what crack does to people. You have an uncle who's damn near weed overdose, mad at his mind, the mad Rasta man, and you get high too. You chose death rather than life.
Right.
We have families that have been on drugs, and we know what those drugs have done to them, and still we would take it. We chose death rather than life. If we love life, we go, you know what? I'm not smoking no weed, man. I had an uncle, when he wasn't high, he was a lovely man. You know what I mean? It was a great man. As soon as he got high, he became that mad Rasta man that we see all the time, man. And for that, I'm gonna choose life, man. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna get high again from what happened to him. But does that happen? No, it doesn't, man. We choose that. I mean, like, you know what I mean? If that weed got him like that, I want it too, man. If this laughing gas is sending people to the hospital, I want them to. That's someone that chooses death rather than life. You see what happens. It's obvious what it does, and you want some too. That can only be someone that really they like death. Subconsciously, they want to die. Reader.
Another one, come. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family.
And there, man. So now, who's that family? We are that family, the Israelites.
Right.
And we are a people, we choose death. It's not far-fetched, man. We are in Birmingham right now. With drugs, it kills many people, and it doesn't stop no one from taking drugs. Why? Because people choose death, man. Subconsciously, people want to die, which is the point. All right, let's get Leviticus 19 and 31. Leviticus 19 and 31. So I'm going to show you the law. All right. All right, we got that Leviticus 19 and 31.
Come.
All right, let's read it.
The book
Go
of
ahead.
the book of Leviticus.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits.
All right, so now in Leviticus, these are laws the Lord is breaking down. So regard not them that have familiar spirits, meaning what? They can touch someone, you know what I mean, who you love that died. The Bible's saying, don't pay them any mind. Why? Because they can't do it. It's a
Right.
hustle, and they're hustling you. So now that's one law. Let's read on.
Thank you. Can 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards.
And there you go, man. So I break it down. So a wizard would be a male, a drug dealer. A
That's
witch
right.
is a female one. But a wizard is what? A drug dealer. Just
Right.
like in ancient times, they made something to make you feel good. They mix hemp and all a kind of plants. That is the modern day a drug dealer. And the
Right.
Bible says, don't seek after wizards, man. You have a bad day, get on with it, man. You don't have to hit the weed man because your boss is getting on your nerves, man.
Right.
You don't have to take drugs, you know. You can just cope with it. You can just get on with it. You don't always need to run away. There's something called fighting, man. Fight. Stop looking for a high to, you know what I mean, for a moment, escape life, man. If you don't fight it, you're gonna have to fight it one day, man.
Right.
You right now, if you get high now, what happens when that high wears down and what? Everything vanished. You're still gonna fight those same situations. So how about you don't get high? The Bible's saying don't seek after wizards, man. Meaning what? We are a nation. We shouldn't be buying drugs, man. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be seeking the weed man. You shouldn't have a weed man's number on your phone, man.
Right.
You shouldn't. You mean when it's 1 a.m. and you got paid, you shouldn't be calling this weed man. I mean, there's people as soon as they get paid, they're at the cash point, man. Late at night, dark, you know, it's just them on the road, and about the cash point just. You know what I mean? And they're taking out the money. Like, these drugs that good? That
It's like good.
you find your way to a cash point. You got no car. You're walking to a cash point to go cash out money to give to the weed man. And I call him almost there, man. You're almost there. I'm saying the cash point now. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? That is sad, man. That is an addiction where you're willing to walk in the cold as soon as you got paid. And you know what's bad too? You don't always get paid at 1 o'clock on the dot, and your online bank is watching. Yo, is the money in yet? Oh man, nah, man, not yet, man. You know what? I'm gonna give it 10 minutes, man. Oh, the money isn't in yet, and they're just phone watching their banking app, man, waiting for that money to come into the account, and as soon as it's done, yeah, man, it's in the bank now, right? I'm on the way. That is sad. That is sad. As an adult, bro, they got you that hook that what? You know what I mean? You can't even. You don't have no form of discipline, man.
Right.
You couldn't buy it in the morning when you woke up. You need it now. As soon as the money's in your bank, your phone watching like, is the money in there? Yes. You mean I got a 1p in the account? Okay, I'm gonna wait 10 minutes. I go back in 1p again. Oh man, I ain't got paid. I look now. £60, 1p. Yeah, man. I got the money now. Yeah, man. Come, man. You know what I mean? That's sad, man. That is a addiction, man.
Right.
We are not meant to be like that, man. We don't seek after wizards. We don't buy drugs, man, in our nation. Read on.
So like the other one, I was gonna say they even get it on tick before they even got enough money. Like, so they're gonna pay last week, this week, next week. They get it on tick, innit?
Yeah, and you see, even that you're addicted. It's like you're taking out like a weed loan or something. Like, I mean, like I'll pay for you later, and that's sad, man.
Man.
You mean if that is how you live, you are a drug addict.
That's right.
If you're walking to the cash point in the cold, you know what I mean, in the early AM to go pay a weed man, you are a drug addict, man.
Mm.
And that's a reality that you have to face. Read on.
Canada and Khan, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them.
And let me tell you, no, I'll break it down. When it comes to drugs, they defile many people, man.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't care what it is, whether it's weed, whether it's just nicotine, cigarettes. Listen, man,
Right.
big drugs, they defile anyone, man. Those weed heavy, those black lips, man. Listen, man, you know what I mean? They're defiled, man. You know what I mean? They're unclean, man. You know what I mean? All they care about is that drug, whatever they got to do for that drug. Even the cigarettes, man. People got yellow teeth, man. They're defiled, man. Having to get their teeth whitened every 6 months, man. Why? Because of all that nicotine on their teeth, man. With drugs, they defile you, man. They make you unclean, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Obviously, when it comes to the hard drugs, crack and that, you know what that does. Those things defile. And God says, don't do those things. Don't make yourself unclean, man. Don't become no drug addict to defile yourself, man. To make yourself nasty. Which is the point.
That's right. And it's like the other one. When you smoke as well, it makes you look older than you are. You know what I mean? And what you said about the crack, you know, it's gonna mash up your nose. You know, them bridge part of the nose is gone and all that from snorting crack and all kinds of madness. Lose your teeth and all that from taking them things, man. Well, yeah,
there you go. And listen, and that's how you know that the Bible's real. Because true. Big drugs, they defile you. They make it so dreadful, like old and run down. I mean, this is years ago. I mean, I see him around the way. He was on the weed hard, man. Me and him are the same age. I thought he was in his 50s. No, I kid you not. I'm not saying it to try and insult him or be rude. Like his face is soft, like even the cheekbones in and everything. Even got the a patch top of his head, like bro, like the weed in you, man. And that's what happens, man. Why? Because it's that drug. It's you know what I mean. It's finishing him, man. And he's got to stop listening to that demon, man.
That's right.
But that's it, man. All right. Let's get it more. All right, let's get Ezekiel 8. I got a question online as well. So I'll get to that. All right, look at it. All right, let's start Ezekiel 8. We can start from verse 12. So I'm gonna run down things what Ezekiel saw. Then we're gonna get to the worst one that he saw at the end, all right? So Ezekiel 8 and 12.
Done okay. Who's reading?
Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse 12. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark?
So okay, so let's break it down. Meaning, of course, we have laws against idolatry. So what did we do? We did idolatry in the dark, man. Meaning in your house, you had your idol and you were worshiping it. Why? Because we have laws that is a sin. So in the dark, you know what I mean, they'll have their little whatever erected and they'll be worshiping it. So the Lord showed Ezekiel, look at them in the dark, in their house. Look what they're doing. They're doing idolatry, man. They're worshiping idols. Reader, if in 12.
Slacker, yeah, I just saying, right, that's right.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Slacker.
Yeah. Every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, the Lord seeth us not. The Lord hath forsaken the earth.
That's what you mean, as ridiculous as it sounds, they thought that the Lord just wouldn't know. They worship the idol in their house and the Lord just don't see. But of course the Lord saw. That's why Ezekiel is had it written down because the Lord showed Ezekiel what we was doing. Read on.
Khan. He saith also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do.
So now that's one abomination. In the law, idolatry is a sin. But then the Lord's saying to Ezekiel, there's even worse ones than these, man. If you think that's bad, they're serving another God. Ezekiel, let's have a walk, man. And you mean you're gonna even see worse than what I'm showing you right now. Read on.
Right. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
So now with a Tammuz, that's a Babylonian god.
Right.
So now, of course, while there was in that religion, you know, there was crying for a Tammuz, like in the church, how like the women cry for a Christ. That's the same thing. They're crying Tammuz, no, you know what I mean? And there was in the church bawling, and Ezekiel saw that, like, again, that is idolatry, and it was done in the temple of the Lord, man.
All right. Then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Oh, Slakia. Verse 16. And he brought me in. Wait, yeah, Slakia. Verse 15. Then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these.
Guess what? It gets even better, man. He showed him one abomination. Listen, I'm gonna show you one worse. He showed Ezekiel another one. He's saying, listen, it even gets worse, Ezekiel. Let's see what Ezekiel see next. Read on.
And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, there were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worship the sun toward the east.
So imagine that now we're worshiping the sun, man. So meaning with the temple of the Lord, they turned their back to it and they had their face to the east. Why? Because what people say, the sun rises from the east. So meaning what? We was doing sun worship, man. Like what the do. You know what I mean? We was doing that, man. Sunday, you know what I mean? But basically it gets worse. We were doing what you call today Sunday worship. Read up.
Right.
Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here.
And if you notice, it's got a question mark, meaning he's saying it, but he's not asking him. He's letting him know, like, is it a light thing what they're doing in my holy land? Are these light things that they are doing? Because in the law, these sins are punishable by death, man. It's not like doing those things. You are meant to die, man. If you serve another god, you are supposed to be put to death, man. And the Lord said, Ezekiel, is this light stuff? Is this stuff that I can just let go? You know what I mean? They know the law, and look what they're doing. They are worshiping other gods, and they know the punishment for this is death. Read on.
For they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger.
So now I want you to keep that in mind. They have filled the land with violence. Now, I don't care where you are, in England, in the Netherlands, what fills a place with violence, man? What fills a place with theft? Does anyone know?
So like, what or who? Salakia?
What?
What? Crime.
That's true, but in a lot of places you go, what is the root of crime?
Oh, poverty.
That's true, but there's also something else as well.
Like I said, if I could.
Go ahead.
Oppression.
At times, people strung out on drugs.
Oh,
so they
Slacky.
really try to get money, for drugs. And
Give that a hand.
no.
A lot of crime that you see, people say all the time it is drug related. A lot of gang crime you see, a lot of violence you see, the police say it is drug related. So the Lord's friends, Ezekiel, listen, the land is filled with violence. And if you think, we're reaching, we're making it up, it's going to explain it. Yeah.
Another one, Khan. And lo, they put the branch to their nose.
And they put the branch to their nose, man. Meaning what? You know what I mean? That can be a crack, because with crack, you know what I mean? With the what's the bean that crack from?
Poppy.
What was that?
Was that Poppy, other one?
I think it's
I'm sorry. It's opium.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That comes from like what a branch form, or what when someone gets high, before they get high, what they put that branch to their nose, man, smell it, go. You know what? That's some good stuff right there, man.
That weed. So okay, yeah.
I look, listen, just saying, look, to put the branch to their nose, man. Meaning what? That is drug taking, man.
That's right.
Listen, people taking drugs is not nothing new. Even in the time of Ezekiel, people got high, man. And that's why the land was filled with violence. And that's why it's going, look, they put the branch to their nose. Meaning what? They got high, man. They were taking drugs, and what? The land was filled with violence, man. They take, you know what I mean? And even right now, a lot of violence. The police always say it's drug related. All the shootings and the back and forth killings, what? It's drug related. And listen, it's nothing new. Even in our holy land at one point, we was drug addicts, and the land was filled with violence. It's nothing new, man. What happened in the past is happening right now, man.
Right.
Therefore will I also deal in fury. Mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them.
There, man. So the Lord saying, listen, when it's my turn, I'm not caring, man.
Right.
Because we know better, but we didn't do better. We are people of the law, but did not keep the law. And that's why the Lord's saying, when it's his turn, he doesn't care if we cry. He doesn't care how we feel. We are going to die, man. So hold the subject for a second. I had a question. Don't want to let it scroll off too much.
There was one earlier.
There was it. I did see it. All right, I got it.
There was one on.
Okay, so it says, Salakia, can I please have a breakdown on Acts 10, 11 through to 15? Let's get the Acts 10 and 11.
Acts chapter 10, verse 11. And saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet, knit at the four corners, and let down to the earth.
Okay, so Aisha, let me ask you, is the reason for asking for this verse, is it because of Christians that use this to say you can eat what you like? I'm asking you, but we'll break it down anyway. But now, for those of you new to class or that have never read Acts 10, this is a vision that Peter's having right here. So it's not even literal. And even to show you in what they like to use, even Peter saying, no, we don't eat them things. It's literally saying it as you read on. So, you know what I mean? So in this trance that he was in, he saw heaven open. So imagine the clouds opening up. certain a vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners. You know what I mean? Tezakon reads for this one. Read on.
Verse 12. Wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth,
Read on.
and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air.
Okay, so now in this trance that he was in, the vision is saw, you know what I mean? The clouds open from heaven, and just a vessel coming down, and on it was all manner of beasts, you know, lions, tigers, deer, sheep, you know what I mean? Antelopes, beasts, creeping things. You mean all manner of things that you can imagine. Read on.
Verse 13. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat.
Read on.
Verse 14. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
There you go. Even Peter saying, nah, we don't eat anything.
Right.
In verse 14 it says, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. See, even Peter's like, I know it's a vision, but we got a law that we can't eat those things, man.
That's right.
A Christian never reads that part, man. They love, you know, the all beasts coming out of heaven, but what about this part? Where hang on, the man who has the vision, even he's saying, nah, we don't eat anything. He's not agreeing with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the opposite. Read on.
Verse 15. And the voice spake unto him again a second time, What God has cleansed, that call not thou common.
Okay, so now the Christian goes, listen, if God cleansed it, then it's fine. But even Peter knew that it didn't mean that.
That's right.
You hear in the church, Peter knew even while he was alive that it doesn't mean what it doesn't mean what the church thinks it means now. Read on.
Another one, verse 16. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
So now this vision, he had it 3 times. It wasn't once. Read the next verse.
Verse 17. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what the vision which he had seen should mean.
Hang on. With Peter, he didn't even know what it meant. So in the church, this means you can eat what you like. Peter doubted it, meaning even he didn't know. So if he didn't know, who are you to say what this means? So there's only one way to find out. If you read the Bible, let's see what you mean. Let's see what the Lord told Peter what this vision meant, man. Read on.
Behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood.
No sweat. So now we will skip down to what the vision meant, to where with Peter he knew eventually what the Lord was showing him. Let's skip through.
So for me, when said Peter doubted, that means even he knew something right. He didn't understand it, but he knew he weren't. He knew he wasn't what he thought he was.
That's right. So when it's saying rise, kill and eat, remember it had the vision 3 times, and even he doubted, like, nah, like, listen, man, we got the law. It can't obviously mean kill and eat those unclean animals. He doubted that. So in the church, when they're saying this means you cannot eat what you like, no, it doesn't. Because the man who had the vision, even he's like, no, it obviously can't mean that. And as you read on, it's going to explain what the vision is. It literally has it right here, but the church never goes into it.
That's right.
All right, let me find where.
So like the other one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I start from 19? It says, while Peter thought on the vision. How do you want to jump down?
we can miss that. There's the point where he literally breaks it down like this is what it is.
Verse 10 though. No, it
Uh,
is.
1 second. Joppa immediately come to London.
21.
Have a look. 1.
Yeah, it was yeah, 22 I'll say start from.
Okay. Right then. Let's start from verse 22.
Another one can 22. Verse 22. And they said, Cornelius the centurion, a just man, and one that feared God, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews, was warned from God by an holy angel to send for thee into his house and to hear words of thee.
All right, so if you never read Acts 10 before, there was a brother called Cornelius, and you know what I mean. And the angel of the Lord said, go and find this man who was a Peter. So now with Peter, he's had the a vision, but that is to see this man called Cornelius. So we're gonna read on, and then even he's gonna say what the vision was. Read on. Verse 23.
Read another one.
Kanye.
Can't. Then, verse 23, then called he them in and lodged them. And on the morrow, Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him. Verse 24, and the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and he called them together, his kinsmen.
Okay, so you mean you can read that in your own time, they met, the interaction they have. All right, Cornelius said 28. All right, yeah, verse 28.
Verse 28. And he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation.
Read on. So now the rest of this verse is going to show you what the vision represented. All of the animals, the clean and the unclean. It's going to literally break it down right here. Read on.
Come unto one that is of another nation. But God has showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
There you go. I should not call any man common or unclean. Even though the vision had beasts, what it represents men, man. And with Peter is breaking down what the vision, after he met this man, then it came to him that that's what that vision was about, man. That you should call no man common or unclean. All beasts rise, a kill and eat. Then he understands the aspect and go, I should not call any man common or unclean. There you go. It's broken down in the same chapter, man. So right. Anyone trying to talk about they can use that to what they like, it's not saying there. Remember, even he doubted it, like, well, I obviously cannot eat anything that is unclean. He doubts it like, nah, the Lord ain't gonna make me do that. Then what? In verse 28, he got the understanding that he should call no man common or unclean. It's literally right there. There's, no way of getting around it, really. Like, unless you want to read the book of Enoch or something, it might have it there for you, but in the Bible, it's not saying that.
Right.
You still have to eat clean food, man. You still have to your diet has to be in the confines of Leviticus 11, man.
That's right.
Don't change, man. You know what I'm saying? So if that answers it, give me a con, give me a 1. All right, let's get back to the topic.
Like you said, there was also a question from earlier, around 7:23. Okay.
72. Okay.
Go on.
Okay. So like you said, could I get a breakdown on why why are there so
Niggas so
many
many.
planets, galaxies, and solar systems, and why the universe is expanding? Can I get a scripture to support the answer? Well, there is no a precept on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, what I would say to you is that don't focus on expanding galaxies. Focus on what's going on right here, man.
That's right.
We have a fight. We have a fight going on right here, man. We just read about what that laughing gas is doing to many people. Listen, I can't worry about another galaxy. Like it's just, you know what I mean? My head's here trying to fix this. You know what I mean? I got no a business wondering, is there a galaxy out of this one? Is there a different species? Nah, man. I've got to fix this Earth under Christ, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, you know what I mean? If there is, there is. You know what I mean? But really, I wouldn't put my emphasis or no part of my life on that, man. I'd rather fix my life and have the Lord on my side, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people out there, they got their mind on things that do not matter, man. Like, what's that religion? The nation of Islam. They care about how far the sun is away from the earth. Like, who cares, man? You know what I mean? In the nation of Islam, it's called the mathematics of God. You know what I mean? And listen, that is irrelevant, man. There's people dying on earth. There's single parent homes, and you want to care about God's mathematics. That's sad, man. And likewise for yourself, don't get caught up in that, or then you forget about what matters the most, man.
That's right.
Internet weirdos talking about the Illuminati, man. Meanwhile, you're watching the Rothschilds, and you're not watching your kids, man.
Right.
You're late at night, but you know about the New World Order. Listen, man. How about you fix that, man?
Right.
How about you get that? How about you get your daughter coming home at 9 o'clock on time, man? Instead of the
That's right.
and the bankers and the Illuminati. And listen, your house is a mess, man. I would rather have my house in order than know about the Illuminati, man.
That's right.
And you don't want to get caught up in that on other galaxies and this and that when there's things right in front of you that need fixing, man. You know what I mean? So definitely, brother, I would focus on that, man. Right? All right, let's get Leviticus 20, and we start at verse 6.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, and verse 6. And the soul that turneth after such as of familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people.
So imagine that in our nation, if you saw a wizard, meaning you saw a male drug dealer, you was cut off.
Right.
What? You mean you brought weed off him, but you was cut off, man. Meaning you had to leave the land, live wherever you could rest your head, but you could not be around us, man.
That's right.
That's how we was on drugs, man, as a nation in our righteousness. When you saw a wizard, you brought drugs. You had to go, man. You brought weed, ecstasy. I'm using a modern drugs now. You was cut off from among us, man. You had to leave. You know what I mean? You had to leave your house. You know what I mean? Go live in some other nation's land. We didn't want you anymore. And that's how we was, man. We showed you how we was against drugs, man. We was a nation that was drug addicts and loved drugs and, loves to get high. If you was buying drugs, you had to get cut off, man. You saw a wizard, you had to go, man. You know what I mean? You saw you sought the weed, man. You was gone, man. You called me at 1 a.m. and want some weed. Yeah, I did. You're going to pack them bags and leave, man. You know what I mean? You're going to just leave the land of Israel. Reader.
And so, like you said, if I could.
Good.
You know, when it goes into like familiar spirits, is I know that's like talking specifically about someone who, you know, thinks that they can like talk to the dead or things like that nature. But things like, say, like, you know, people who believe in like crystals or astrology and those type of things, is that sort of included within that?
You can do, but I believe that there is some laws on them as well. So you have a sorcerer, that is more in that field. You know what I mean? So right now, you mean the familiar spirits one? That's the one that believes, you know, they can talk to the dead. Someone in your family that died, you know, they believe, you know, they can communicate with them. And again, of course, none of this works, but the Lord don't like it. Why? Because the Lord doesn't want us hustling each other, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why? Because when someone you love dies, you are in a weak point, and the Lord doesn't want someone taking advantage of you. He knows you miss your mother, and what to do? Someone just comes along. Listen, man, if you pay me £100, you can talk to your mother again. You know? Yeah, man. I do it all the time, brethren. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And then what? He's robbing you, man. And then what's gonna happen? You're gonna go every week believing you're talking to your mother, man, and you never was, man. You know what I mean? Cool. And the way you know is what they say generic things. They never say nothing that pinpoints you. Everyone loves their mother. Come on.
Right.
Everyone's mother. You mean 9 times out of 10 love their son? So of course gonna say your mother misses you. She wants to be with you another day. If it's just one more day, of course. You ain't saying nothing that isn't common to anyone. That is generic talking, meaning it's relatable to almost everyone. Go ahead, officer.
I like the movie with Gold.
Oh yeah, so
I think she took the fraud, and she was saying just that. You know what I mean? People go into it, making big money and everything.
Yeah, like what the officer said, it's a film from the 90s, Ghost, man. It was a popular film, you know what I mean? Yeah,
right.
Yeah, with a Patrick. It was a popular film, and guess what? When she really saw Ghost, she got scared. Why? Because she doesn't really see them, man. Till when she did, like, whoa. Why? Because all those years of doing it, it was fake. Until she really saw one, like in the book of Samuel's. That a woman, when she really saw Ghost, she panicked. Why? Because all those years she was robbing people, she didn't see nothing. And the one time she did, she was afraid because usually she don't see it. It's a lie. And as I said, it's generic talk. You're saying things that, you know what I mean, anyone can relate to. It's not far-fetched, you know what I mean? So I'm talking to your mother. Your mother says she loves you very much. Well, what mother doesn't love their son very much? Like, come on, really. There may be the odd one out of every 10, but it's commonly known that with a mother, she loves the kids.
That's
You know what I mean? You ain't saying nothing no one don't know. You know, she died and she misses you. Of course, when people die, they miss the people that are alive. What person dies and goes bye and just don't want to be around anybody?
right.
You ain't saying nothing that no one don't know. And the Lord doesn't want us doing those things. Why? Because we would be hustling each other. And you can't have a nation where we are taking advantage of each other. Like right now, we take advantage of each other, and what? We are at the bottom, man. A drug dealer takes advantage of everyone, and what? Our nation sinks, man. He has all the money, everyone else is poor. So if you claim you can talk to the dead, what? You're gonna have all the money, everyone else is going to be poor, man.
That's right.
It's not rocket science. Read on.
Verse 7. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be ye holy, for I am the Lord your God.
And there, man, the Lord saying, sanctify yourself, meaning clean yourself, man. Don't see no wizard. You mean be clean. Separate yourself from buying drugs, man. Separate yourself from drug addiction and you know what I mean the things that the other nations did. Because what a lot of us don't know is the nations about us, they took drugs, man. The
Right.
Aryan Empire, they were smoking cannabis thousands of years ago. It's nothing new.
Right.
Even in India, they have a weed heritage that goes back thousands of years, man. Where it's normal. Even in India right now, weed is normal. You mean even the whole dreadlocks thing in India? A lot of people don't know that that is actually an Indian custom. You know what I mean? So many of us, of course, not having the knowledge that we're meant to have, we think that locks is a black thing when really it's the Indian thing. And when Indians came to the islands, we followed them and we had locks as well. And then the ganja, even the word ganja, it's a Hindi word. Hindi is an old Indian language. Ganja nothing to do with black people like we think it does. You know what I mean? Why? Because other nations, they are drug addicts.
That's right.
And the Lord's saying, don't be like them. Sanctify yourself. Don't be like those other nations. They like drugs, man, to, you know what I mean, burn time and escape reality. But we're not to do so, man. Skip to verse 26.
Verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people.
And imagine that, man. We are severed from other people, man. We are cut off from other nations, man. We can't do what they do. God divided us. Like, listen, those nations do all that stuff, but you being the people that represent me, you can't do it, man.
That's right.
If you serve the Lord, you can't see no weed, man.
That's right.
You can't be looking at your online banking. You know what I mean? Waiting for 1 o'clock till when you get paid, so that you can pay this weed, man. Nah, man. We are cut off from other people. Let the other nations do that, man.
Right.
Let the other nations at 1 o'clock in the morning walk to a cash point to go and pay the weed, man. Not you, man. And that's how you know that with weed, it's that with the drug weed or whatever you call it, it's an addiction. It's raining outside, and you're willing to put on that coat and walk to a cash point to cash out money to give a drug dealer, man. It's raining and the wind, and you wrapped up warms, wind hitting you just in the cash point 9, 6, 8, 7, and then the money come out. No, in the cash machine, you can it's the money you hear, like the money's rolling in the cash machine. You hear it, you're like, yeah, man, and then you pay the weed, man. That's an addiction, man. Right. It's raining outside, and you worth it. I'm getting that 10 bag tonight, man. If I gotta have my hood up, beat the rain, and walk in there and get it, that's an addiction, man. Really.
And have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine.
And there, man, we are the Lord's. We can't do what these other nations do, man. You can research the ancient Chinese, the ancient Japanese. They took drugs, man. You can research many ancient kingdoms, and they was all on drugs. Even the ancient Egyptian empire, they took drugs, but they didn't which is so gay. They didn't burn the drugs. They basically inserted the drugs in there behind, and it gave them a nice feeling, as it says in the records. So with the weed, I don't know why, but they would roll it up and in there behind, just I pull it up there. And so that's how ancient Egyptians took drugs. And you can read it in history books. It's nothing we're trying to make up. Egyptians took drugs via their anus, basically. That was their way of taking drugs.
That's how they get it, bring it into jail, prisons as well. You know what I mean? These days, isn't it? That's something right there, man. Which proves that we're back in Egypt again, man. You know,
that's true. But the point I'm making is when they wanted to get high, when they wanted the drug to take effect, that's how they did. put it in behind them. Eventually, it got into them, and it made them feel high, which is the most weirdest way of taking drugs. But that's what the ancient Egyptians did. That was a method of taking drugs. You mean while as when you go to the eastern part of the world, they burnt it, but in Egypt, they just inserted it in there behind, basically.
Right.
There's up one. You had some.
No, yeah, I understood what you said, but I was just saying how they bring it in also these days. But I know, yeah, I saw that breakdown years ago with Captain Cross the Line. You know what I mean? Cross the Line really with Polite and all them. You know what I'm saying? So I came across that.
You mean, and there you go. So what we said there is commonly known. It's in Egyptian history books that their drugs was inserted in their rectum, basically. You know what I mean? That's how they took drugs. That was their way of getting high, basically. You know what I mean?
It's like you say, read on.
Please, yeah.
Come, verse 27. A man also, or woman that had a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death.
And there you go. So now, in verse 6, if you dealt with one, you had to leave. But if there was a wizard among us, they had to die, man.
Right.
It shows you how far we have lost the mark, man. In these last days, we embrace the drug dealer. We like him. I mean, for as long as he's friends with us, we like, you know what I mean? He's cool. When back in ancient times, a drug dealer was a shame. He had to go. A drug dealer wasn't someone who was glamorized and you wanted to be his friend, and you know what I mean? You was happy to take any money he or she passed out, man. In ancient times, drug dealers died, man. They wasn't embraced and they wasn't given a blight. A drug dealer was put to death, man. Read on.
Khan. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them.
So what does it mean by their blood shall be upon him? Meaning we have a law where if you sin, you can sacrifice a animal. But for that sin, there's no animal that you can sacrifice. That's why your blood's upon you, meaning for this sin, you gotta die. No bullet, no lamb gonna compensate for that sin that you did. So that's why your blood needs to be upon you, meaning for that sin, your blood has to be shed. No ram can compensate for it. No blood of a lamb can let the Lord go, you know what? Okay, you get another chance. But for that sin, your blood has to be shed. Just like with some laws in the Bible, there's no animal that can be sacrificed for it. You gotta die. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right, let's get my notes out. Let's get Galatians 5:19. Even 12?
Yeah, contact.
Anyone with that? Galatians 5:19.
Like it's all good.
I got you.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness.
All right. So I'll break it down. So the works of the flesh. So what's the flesh? The flesh is the things that you want to do.
Right.
And the works of the flesh, they are manifest, meaning when someone's not operating with the Lord, they do what they want to do. And it's obvious. Someone who doesn't serve the Lord, their works are obvious. They do things that the Lord would never want you to do. It's very obvious. It is manifest, meaning it's evident for your eyes to see. So the works of the flesh are these. So like if you read that from the top one more time.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are these. Salakia. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
All right, let's start right there. So what's one work of the flesh? Adultery, man. When a man wants another man's wife, or a woman who has a man wants another man, that is a work of the flesh, man.
Right.
You ain't happy with the person that you're with. I mean, people that do things like that, they're of the flesh, and it's evident why, because that's what they do. You know what I mean? Someone don't make them happy. They've got to find another man. Like, do you know how silly and immature that sounds? Someone can't make you happy every day, man.
That's right.
That is so immature. Even when they say it, like, it's sad because they say it and they think it makes sense when it shows how much of a child they are, man. I loved him, but it didn't make me happy. That's something about like a 6-year-old would say, I had the game, mommy. I'm bored now. Like, you are an adult. And you talking about this man don't make you happy. Do you know how immature and young that sounds? But you think like that. Why? Because you're in the flesh, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That even sounds ridiculous. And you know what's sad about it? No one's gonna make you happy. Right. No one is. See, in their mind, they think, well, if I leave him and I go with him, listen, 6 months time, you're gonna say the same thing again, man. He didn't make me happy. We had an argument, and you know what I mean? If he can talk to me like that, I don't know if I can be with him. What? That's ridiculous. So you think you're gonna be with someone all these years and you're never going to argue?
Right.
That's a child, man. You think you're never gonna have a yelling match? Yes, you are, man. Now, if you're a child, in your mind, that's the end of the world. I've got to leave him. You know what I mean? And also, too, for a man, I'll give both sides. You know what I mean? I gotta be fair, of course. You know what I mean? Even for a man, you know what I mean? You take another man's wife, man. That's a child. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen a kids? They can have so many things, but they want what he's got. Like, I want that one. I want that one. You are a child, man. You want another man's wife? When there's women out there galore, man. But you, a child, you want his woman. Those things show how immature you are, man. And those things are works of the flesh. And it's evident why, because that's what people do. Read on.
Another one, God. Fornication.
Fornication. That's the work of the flesh. What is fornication? Unlawful sex, man. Whether you sleep with animals, whether yeah, it's like whether you sleep with animals, whether you sleep with another nation. I mean, any sex that God says you should not do, that is a work of the flesh. That's what you want to do, but it's not what God wants you to do, man. Read on.
Another God. Uncleanness.
Uncleanness, man. Meaning what? Everything that God says is unclean. If you do it, that's a work of the flesh, man. If you buy drugs, that's uncleanness, man. We read in the law where that, I mean, if you buy drugs, it defiles you. And uncleanness is a work of the flesh, man. You're harassing that weed man on the phone. That's uncleanness, man. The weed man's in bed and you're telling him, please, man, yo, mean, I'm just around the corner, man. Yo, mean, 10 minutes. That's an addiction, man. You are an addict. To where a man's in bed and you wanting to get out just to give you some drugs, man. You are an addict. Go ahead, Prophet.
Like I said, the worst thing is, you ask somebody, do you take drugs? They say, no, I take weed. Like, weed's are different. You know what I mean? Like, what made me know was how I see people smoking on the bus. Like, any man that can't wait 4 or 5 stops to smoke, it shows that he's an addict, man. You know, anyone that can just smoke at the whole bus, just can't wait 10 minutes. Couple bus stops. That's a man that can't wait when they got that issue.
That's right, man. That's an addict. And also off the back of that, even on the bus, they just zoned in on that weed, man. The bus is rocking and rolling and doing this. Yeah, man. Yeah. Just focus. Yeah, that's an addict, man. You're on the bus, you know what I mean? It's telling sharp left and right, and they're making sure on that a paper they got, they're rolling that weed right now. You mean that paper's meant for reading that they're rolling up on it, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And then you know, it's funny if the boss rock bad, they just take all of it. People, you know what I mean? Louis, it's an addict, man. You mean? Now listen, I don't condone any drugs, but if you roll it in your house, you would never have none of those problems at all, man. You'll be on the table where, guess what? It would never rock. You wouldn't have to, you know what I mean, be holding it and then rocking with it. But being an addict that much, even on a bus, you're willing just to take the chance, man. Like what the officer said, man. Reader.
Khan, lasciviousness.
Lasciviousness. That is also uncleanness, but in a sexual way. So, like, what's some examples like?
Like someone who's incestuous.
Yeah, things like incest. What's that stuff where you have sex with another man's wife and he's there, like a couple?
Oh,
That's like
yeah. No, the cause.
They're
called swingers, where you know what I mean,
right.
you bring your wife, he brings his wife, and you switch. I mean, that's what it's called anyway. That is lasciviousness, meaning those things are works of the flesh, man. Dogging, and you know what I mean, all that, all those things that you know what I mean. No one should have no business doing, man.
That's right.
Read on.
Verse 20. Idolatry.
So it's like a work of the flesh. One of them is idolatry, man. You serving idols. You believe that idol is intercessing you to God, man. That's a work of the flesh. Someone that serves idols is clearly someone that doesn't know God, man.
That's right.
You would know you don't need the idol. You know nothing that you made with your hands can intercess. But if you're in the flesh, that's what you believe, man. Read on.
That's right. And Khan, witchcraft.
Witchcraft, man. What is witchcraft? Drugs, man. Sorcery over that pot, man. That is a work of the flesh, man. A drug dealer is in the work of the flesh, man.
Right.
I like to say, I know I'm doing wrong, but God's with me. No, it's not, man. That is a work of the flesh. Witchcraft. Whether you're baking crack, whether you know what I mean, whether you got a weed, a crop in your house, that's a work of the flesh, man.
Right.
Witchcraft is a work of the flesh. And let me tell you something, you people buying those nitrogen tanks, you are a drug addict too, man.
Right.
You are in witchcraft too, man. Everywhere you go, you see these small gas canisters. You are drug addicts too, man.
Right.
Where what? You gotta get high from anything, man. It's nitrogen oxide. It's made to inflate balloons, man. And somehow you turn that into a drug. Why? Because that's how much of an addict you are, man.
That's right.
Right.
And it's not only in the UK. The brother from the Netherlands said it too, man. Everywhere you go and you see these grey canisters on the floor, meaning it's not just over here in the UK. People are using helium to get high, man. Laughing gas to get high. And we read that it has severe effects, man. You can hallucinate. You can have a chest problems. Why? Because you're not meant to be taking it. Unless you are in the dentist, you got no business using laughing gas, man.
Right.
You got no business putting that helium in a balloon, man, and inhaling it, man. You got no business doing that. Reader.
Right.
And witchcraft, hatred, variance.
And variance, man. So, of course, in your own time, it goes into many other things, and those things are works of the flesh. And when people have those things, that's how you know they're in the flesh. It's manifest, meaning when you see someone with these attributes, they're in the flesh, man.
Right.
When you see a witch or a wizard, they're in the flesh. It's not rocket science, man. All right, let's get Proverbs 6. Let's get Proverbs 6. 1 second. Well, 1 second. 6 and 2. All right. You can start from verse 6. A Proverbs 6 and 6.
Come on. Book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
So, what is King Sir Solomon saying right here, man? He's saying get some ambition, man. Let me tell you something.
Right.
Anyone who's hooked on drugs, they got no ambition, man.
That's right.
Even King Sam saying, look at the ants, man. You know what I mean? You mean ants? You know what I mean? If you've watched like an animal show, ants get to work, man. Ants roll up.
Right.
You mean ants roll up doo-doo and make it for like a net? You know that? It is what it is. You mean ants get to work, man? And we can start saying, look at the ants and be wise, man. If the ants can damn there work on something, why can't you, man? Why? Because you're lazy, and why? Because it's those drugs, man. With drugs, it takes away any ambition you got, man. Any zeal to do anything. Listen, if you're on drugs, you ain't gonna do nothing, man.
Right.
I've never seen a drug addict have some big enterprise, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? It don't happen, man. You can't be hooked on weed and yeah, man. You know what I mean? What do they like to say? I run my own business. And when you find out it's not even a business, isn't me? And nowadays everyone runs a business, everyone's self-employed, and they're not self-employed. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They would like to think it, but it's not the case. You know what I mean? See me, I'm a businessman. If you only find out what business they're running, you're like, well, damn, there anyone can do something like that. I mean, what's that guy that died that used to comment on the women a lot?
Samuels. Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels. I'll give you one example. He was talking to a woman. The woman's like, I run my own business.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Samuels asked that. So what is your business? Guess what the dumb woman said? OnlyFans. And she said with confidence, you mean I run my own business? OnlyFans isn't your business. OnlyFans is someone else's business and you're logged into it, man. It's not your business. And that's the problem. Many people have taught this, you know, I'm self-employed, a business talk. They don't run a business. But the point being is, for someone who's lazy and slow, King Sir Solomon is saying, listen, look at the ants, man. You know what I mean? Go out there, do something. And if you're hooked on drugs, it takes away your ambition, man. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Especially for men. Like, especially weed. Now, for those of you that don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the deeps of it, but with a testosterone, that's what makes a man want to actually achieve something in your body. The more testosterone you can make, the more you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It gives you the will to do it. When you take testosterone levels go very low, man.
That's right.
That's why weed heads can't do nothing. A weed head wants to become a minister and just can't do it, man. You know what I mean? He wants to do all of that, but why? Because that weed took all of his testosterone, man. But that's the biological part, man. You know what I mean? You're not. And King Solomon saying, listen, man, get out there, do something. Read on.
Which having no guide, consider her way to be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest.
And there you go, man. Meaning what? Ants get to work, man. They work hard in the winter so that what? In the summer, they have food, man. They have things laid up. Read on.
Provide us like how long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard?
And there
when
you go, man.
wilt thou arise?
And that's the weed right there, man. It's always in bed, man. Just, you know what I mean? His mum trying to wake him up, man.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like you can't be in bed all the time, man. You're gonna have to get up and do something, man. You're going to have to achieve something. Being in your bed doesn't pay the bills, man. Being in the bills is not gonna help what's in your mind, man.
Hmm.
What is gonna help you is actually getting up and doing it, though.
Right.
Reader.
Khan.
So,
When
Yes,
will thou
hello.
arise out of thy sleep?
And they're just saying, it's like, when are you gonna get out of it, man? Being in bed ain't gonna complete those achievements, man. And that's what drugs does. I mean, with drugs, it takes all that zeal away from you, man. Why? Because that demon wants you to serve that drug, man. He doesn't want you to, you know what I mean, get off the drug and do many great things. He would rather you just serve it. And so always do enough just to get high and nothing else, man. So that's the class. Any other questions before we close out? All right, ain't no sweat then. With that, all right, everyone 12. All right, then with that, I'm handing over to priest and officer of 5,000. Corrupt.
With that, I'm going to teach you one case. Salute, man, of Israel. I'm Adam Shabbat. I'm Adam, Rock. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat. That's on the top. Class dismissed.
Shalom, Akim.
Shalom, everyone. Shalom.